Hey folks, what's going on? I hope that you're well. Just getting past this whole water drama thing and dealing with a tropical storm, but we're getting through it. I wanted to get on and talk about something that got on my mind today, something it's very serious. I don't hear a lot of channels talking about this, and if there are, chime them in down below. I'd like to see them, but you see a lot of these people, and eventually, and I've been talking about portable power, and eventually I'm going to figure out either I'm going to get another RV or I'm going to build something or do something, and I will elaborate further on what I'm going to do and wiring things or what I'm going to do. But I want to cover something that no matter what here, you're dealing with electricity. And you got a lot of people that want to get into van builds. A lot of people have done this. So a lot of things you probably have never heard of that may have happened. We'll never know. They may have been too embarrassed to talk about it. But to get into wiring up a van or RV or doing something, and you need to understand that you're dealing with electricity and it's dangerous. And I don't hear a lot of these RV channels. I don't hear all these channels talking about the dangers of it. Okay, I don't care. There's no one size fits all to this stuff, folks. I'm just here to tell you, based on my experience and life's experiences. I have a degree in electronics engineering technology. I don't claim to know everything. I'm not the be all end all. And this video is not meant to try to make people out like they're stupid or they don't know anything, but there are people that don't understand electricity. And I can't stress this enough. Whatever you do, whether you're dealing with a little portable power, a Blue Eddy, or wiring something, please, whatever you do, read the manuals, call the manufacturers. You can get into trouble with one of these. These can be just as dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. Find somebody that knows what they're doing. Ask the questions. It's worth paying somebody a little bit. Could save you thousands of dollars in the future. Serious, it could get you hurt or killed. I'm very serious. Don't underestimate DC 12 volts. Don't DC voltage to AC voltage. One, it can be just as dangerous as the other. One may be more than the other, but do not underestimate. I'm telling you right now, if you don't think for 1 minute that DC voltage, 12 volt, can't kill you or hurt you, think again. Can't burn your RV or your van down, think again. Happens all the time. Car fires happen that are electrical. It's 12 volts. It's DC voltage. Electrical fires, they happen. You get into where you build a van, the whole insurance thing is a whole nother story. Go watch my video, please, about insurance on building vans if you're looking to do it. Good luck on that one, Just know that if you wired something on your own and it wasn't professionally done, the insurance company may deny you. They may not cover the vehicle because they know you did it and you made the mistake. Insurance companies are king of always looking to get someone else to pay for it. Look at somebody who's liable for it. It's just the way they are. In contract of carriage and insurance, there's so many loopholes that they could deny you. You could be in court for years trying to fight that stuff, but that's beside the point. I just want you to understand that you've got to be careful. And I'll tell you a couple of stories that will prove the fact that DC voltage is just as dangerous, and don't think it isn't. Just because my good old Jackery 240, love this thing. Just because you see that plug right there, that looks like a plug in your house, doesn't mean you can plug anything into this. Okay, you need to understand and know what each one of these units are capable of doing. There's only a 110 watt inverter on this thing. This thing is only designed to power a computer or some small device like that and charge them. And these are great for that. I still love my Jackery. I love it. Jackery's great products. My Blue Eddy can handle more, but even it has its limits. You have to be careful what you plug into some of these things. They have a surge up to I know there's a 2,000 watt inverter in the Blue Eddy AC 200 Max, but it's a 4,000 surge. But it's only going to surge at about 15 seconds before it shuts down. But depending on what you plug into like this before it shuts down, you can tear this thing up if you put the wrong thing into it. You can damage the appliance you're plugging into it with this or even that, So you need to understand, read the manuals. Sometimes the manuals, I don't know, any of the manuals on anything are perfect. Sometimes you just, if you're in doubt, pick up and call these guys. They'll guide you. They're really good at telling you. There's a lot of good YouTube channels out there, man. I'm going to tell you. You got Will Prowse. You got that Hobotech guy. You got a bunch of these guys. And I'm telling you right now, just go watch them. These guys run these things through the test. They'll tell you exactly what they can do. They've already done it. I'm not going to do it. I'm technical, but not that technical. These guys are good. They'll tell you what they're capable of. They'll tell you what to beware of and that stuff. please go watch those channels. If you're unsure, learn about this. No matter what you do with one of these, you may just plug everything in your van into this, and that's great. It's easier. It's much easier for you. Or you may take like what Blue Eddy, the AC200 Max has. It has a 30 amp dedicated 12 volt, which unless EcoFlow has it, there's no other unit that has that. That's why I picked that. And the AC200 Max has it, but the P doesn't. So if you're looking for that, look for that stuff. But that's for distribution of 12 volt power to like a fuse panel or a distribution bar where you can put inline fuses. And with that, you've got to be careful. And how you distribute that power and what you plug into it, because there are breakers, there are things you need depending on what you're doing, and there are fuses. You have to understand the gauge of wire that you use. You just can't put any wire off of that. It comes with a harness, but you may splice it and put it into bus bar or a fuse panel. But you have to understand that if you put too thin a gauge of wire, it gets hot and it melts. These just things like that you need to understand and know. If you don't know it, you need to get somebody to help you, because it can get you killed. It can burn your RV down. So a lot of things could happen. Don't think this won't happen. I can guarantee you. Don't think that this stuff won't, excuse me one second, won't hurt you, because I can give you a story. Let me give you a verse story. When I had my Winnebago Trend, the Winnebago Trend, the Itasca Viva, was notorious for the isolation relay for the alternator to the house batteries to charge it. It was just too small. It was a factory defect, but people just had to go replace them on their own. You get up under the RV and you had ground and 2 power lines, and me, I get right into it. I had to upgrade to the 4-pole, and I think it was like, I can't remember the specs, like a 240 volt up to a 300 or something. I can't remember what it was. I'd have to go back and look, but the point is I disconnected one line, which was the house batteries, but I didn't stop to think. My brother-in-law was laying up under there with me, and this is 12 volt, folks. 12 volt. I go to unscrew one side and hit the other side with a screwdriver, and the screwdriver actually hit that left side. And immediately sparks flew. It was just a loud boom, like poof. That could have hurt me bad or killed me. That could have started a fire. I could have done a lot of damage. And it dawned on me very quickly that I forgot to disconnect the chassis battery that fed the other side of that. It's an innocent mistake. I've got experience in this stuff, and you still forget to make that mistake. That's 12 volt. That arc welded the screwdriver to the screw on that thing. 12 volt DC voltage can do that. Don't think it can't hurt you or kill you. You've got to be careful. I've worked on electronics and telecommunications where you went from like 5 or 6 volts up to 48 volt ring voltage. And there are certain sections of sections of circuits that will spark. It could pop or hurt you. Or you could cause a lot of damage, a lot of money. It costs you. I've done with computers, which it just depends on what you're doing. If you're coming straight out of the wall, is one thing. Amplifiers, another story I had working on amplifiers. I was working on musical equipment stuff. I was sitting there one day. I had an office in one of the big music stores in Memphis, Tennessee, years ago. A buddy of mine that was working there came in, got my attention. I was putting a meter and I had a guitar in my hand. I couldn't get a lot of output on the amp. It was a tube amp. And if anybody knows about tube amps, you got a DC voltage, and that's AC voltage off that tube line. It is massive. That's a lot of power. And my hand was touching the back of that amp, but there's that metal chassis. And he got my attention. My hand slipped down to between where the metal chassis and the edge of that tube grid. And it hit me. And whoo, boy, let me tell you, it got my attention. I felt that voltage come up my arm, across here and down my arm. The guitar in my hand, I just did this and dropped the guitar. Just going, holy cow, I'm done. I mean, it was riveting. I mean, you got to be careful what you're doing. Even with experience, 1 second, you like taking your eye off the road, you make one mistake, it could get you killed or hurt, I'm telling you. So, and it all boiled down to there was one small resistor, and I eventually ended up, I called a buddy of mine up in Virginia that I was in a class with, and he said, it's just an 80 ohm resistor. It's right there. Take it apart and put a meter to it. You don't even have to power it, which I knew. And I kept hitting it, and it finally opened, and I put the magnifying glass on, and I could see the hairline crack in the resistor. I know that's a little technical for you, but something that small, that little 15-cent part, fix the problem. But a lot of troubleshooting, but it could have gotten me hurt or killed. I'm telling you, just got to be careful of what you're doing. If you don't understand electricity, please get help. I just wanted to get on here and cover that because I don't see a lot of channels talking about this. I see them some of them due diligence to bring somebody who knows what they're doing in to do this, and some, I don't know how they get through it and do it. You know, I mean, you tear up a lot of equipment trying to figure out how to do it. I mean, you can do that. You just got to be careful. You're safer with these all-in-ones, and I think my best advice to you is if you're going to build a van, this AC200 Max is a sweet spot for that. Get a good all-in-one, but it doesn't have to be an AC200 Max. You do you and what works for you. Just make sure you're being careful when you do it, okay? Electricity is dangerous, folks. I'll tell you from experience, don't underestimate it. And if anybody gets on and argues and says, oh, you don't understand electricity, or you don't understand what I'm trying to convey here, because it is. It's dangerous. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can get yourself hurt or killed. So keep that in mind, folks. You know, just keep it in mind. Go watch the videos when I built my van, me wiring it and all the stuff that I went through. And, you know, even background electronics, I still had to do my research with solar because it's a specialty in electricity. You have to understand some things. Setup, yeah, I can't know everything. Can't know everything at all. Hell, with this Blue Eddy the other day, I put on YouTube to make sure the solar panels went in parallel and not series, you know, but there is a method where when you have two sets of solar panels, of those foldable solar panels, I think they've got to go series and then parallel into the unit when you double them. So there's small things you got to know, man. It could tear a lot of shit up, or it could get you in trouble, get you hurt or killed. So hope that helps. I'm going to jump off, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Be good. Bye.